Yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Kyle West, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Listen, I am a pastor and business owner here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I want to say thank you for tuning into my podcast. If you're listening live or if you're watching via my YouTube channel, I just want to say thank you. I want to invite you right now to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Listen, I have a lot of dope content coming out, and I can't wait to share it with you. And also follow me on social media. And if you are interested, I have a special line of communication that I've created for people to connect with me. So listen, down below right now, you will see that there is an opportunity for you to text me. So I want you to text me, join my community of people, and let's connect. Let's grow. Let's see how we can help each other. Let's see how we can grow together. So listen, today I have a special episode of the I'm Kyle West podcast, and it is titled Playing Your Role. Playing Your Role. Listen, because me and my friends, we have this special one-liner that we use, and it's called Everybody Can't Be LeBron, or Everybody Can't Be MJ. Everybody can't be Kobe. And the reality of it is everybody is not meant to be the guy. Yeah. No, that sounds pretty wild, especially in today's climate, because we live in a society where people are being pressured into entrepreneurship. People are being pressured into, ministry. People are being pressured into family structures, into relational structures and things that they're not necessarily built for. And the reality of it is you deserve to live a life where you aren't under unnecessary pressure, because life is filled with enough of its own pressures just because we exist. And so the reality of it is all of us know what it's like when life is lifing. Can we talk about that for a second? Because the reality of it is we can be honest and admit, yeah, life gets tough, life gets difficult. But one of the things I'm really concerned about right now, just as a business owner and as a pastor, because I do have people that, look to me for pastoral care and things of that nature, I'm concerned because there's a lot of people putting unnecessary pressure on themselves because everything out right now is so focused on getting your own. Get your own bag, get your own this, get your own that, start your own, have your own, blank, 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 own, blank, 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 own. It's just all this, get your own, get your own, get your own. But nobody's really doing anything to really help you understand the downfalls of that. Because reality of it is everything you start needs legs. It needs a solid foundation. It needs a structure that will help make whatever it is that is being created run effective. And one of the things that I've learned, especially in this pandemic, is that if you do not have the right structures, if you do not have the right team, whatever you build is destined to fall. I'm going to say that again. If you do not have the right structures, if you do not have the right team, whatever you build is destined to fall. So what does that mean? You have got to know your role. Life is a game. Life is pretty wild. Life can get a little bit crazy. And the reality of it is right now, I think this is the perfect time for us to really find ourselves in a space and in an environment of freedom, while you here with me on this podcast, where you can think through some things and where you can really be challenged to evaluate your next decision or the previous decisions you've been making that have led you to whatever point you're in right now. And so the reality of it is I want to start this off by sharing with you, this is our one-liner for today. Life out of position is self-harm. I'm going to give that to you. Life out of position is self-harm. Anything that you are doing that requires you or has placed you in a place where you are out of position, out of alignment, outside of the will of God for your life, guess what? You're doing self-harm to yourself. And none of us like to be in self-inflicted pain. Sometimes, I'm be honest with you, none of us like to feel pain in general, but, nothing in my opinion is worse than that self-inflicted pain. That's a different, level of pain, because you could have avoided that. You could have kept yourself out of certain things, but the reality of it is as many people are self-inflicting pain on themselves because they won't humble themselves and admit, I'm out of position. Can I tell you something? It is okay to know you were born to be a role player. It's okay. There is nothing wrong with being a role player. There is nothing wrong with saying, hey, I know I have a special skill, and this special skill is meant to be used on a team. I have a special skill, and I know that this special skill is used to be able to help further someone else's vision. I know I have a special skill, and I know that my skill is specifically for the use of making sure this something really big can happen. And one of the things that I really want people to understand is we are becoming a very weird generation of people that would rather die under self-harm, meaning being out of position. We would rather live our lives falling prey to the game and the tricks and schemes of, in my opinion, the enemy, and making us think that we are supposed to be things that we're not really built for. We would rather have that than to live a life of peace, where our gifts, our abilities, our skills can be used the right way. And so one of the things that I've been having a lot of dialogue with me and my friends and I is that we've been talking about, the reality of it is everybody can't be Bron. Everybody can't be Kobe. Everybody can't be Michael Jordan. Everybody can't be Michael Jackson. Somebody has to be Tito. Somebody has to be Jermaine. Somebody has to be Randy. Somebody has to be Marlon. Somebody has to be Janet. And the reality of it is your skills and abilities. When you really evaluate who you are, you have to look at this thing and go, who am I? What am I? Am I here to be a supporting member to a larger vision, or am I here to have my own thing? And do I have the capacity? Am I really built to manage or carry something that will require me to really do the work that is required of a star player? Really think about this. Like when people, I don't think people understand the amount of men and women that die millionaires, and I ain't gonna say die, that are living, walking around right now, that are millionaires, will never have to work a regular job in their life because they contributed to championship organizations. They contributed to championship teams, and we can talk about sports, we can talk about businesses. The amount of people who are running Amazon right now that could be CEOs, that could be out of position, but have decided to get in position and will now be able to leave a legacy for their families because they decided to join something that's now worth billions of dollars. And guess what? They're now millionaires. I think about, me and my friends, we have this conversation and we always talk about, for example, I don't really know how great Tito Jackson can sing, but I do know he's a millionaire because he decided to submit to the vision of his father and rallied behind the idea that, hey, his little brother was supposed to be the number one guy. It has to be pretty cool to know you're Tito Jackson, Michael's brother. You're the guy with the guitar. You played important parts on the songs. You sang background. You're a millionaire. You're looked as someone, you're viewed as someone who has wisdom. You're viewed as someone who knows what you're talking about because you humbled yourself and submitted. You didn't get a bad attitude and you played your role. See, one of the things that's happening right now is I think a lot of friendships, I think a lot of relationships, and be honest with you, are really going down the drain because we don't allow ourselves to mature past our insecurities. And so then we start building things based off of ego, and we let it get in the way of real money. We let it get in the way of us being able to really build some things. I had to share this with one of my friends a few weeks ago. I was like, dude, okay, you're a photographer. You're someone who wants to create videos. You're someone who wants to do all these different things. I understand. Yes, you can build your own. Yes, you can do your own thing. Yes, I get it. And if that's really what you want to do, cool. But on the other side of this, How much more could we make if we partnered? If you came and joined and became a part of my organization. I have a legal business. We have a production company here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We work in between here and California all the time. And I'm like, dude, I understand what you're looking to do, but I really believe we can make more money together than apart. And it wasn't like an ego thing of me saying, because I know I'm getting more business or you can get more business than me. It's just like, nah, we can get more business together by humbling ourselves and submitting to something that's much different. Number one, we're black. Number two, it's not a lot of black production companies in Las Vegas that are actually legal and successful. Number three, I'm trusted. I have the credibility. And that alone in itself is going to make people say, hey, let's take a chance. We could put our money there. He's going to deliver. He's going to, give us what it is we're looking for. And I'm like, dude, I need team members. Let's get this money. And I was like, dude, the reality of it is everybody can't be Bron. And when we talked about it, we started to realize this thing. Bron has two really good friends. They're like his best friends in the world. You have Maverick Carter, another multimillionaire who submitted to the vision, is now an extremely successful businessman. And then you have Rich Paul, Bron's manager and one of his best friends, who is a multi-millionaire, runs the Clutch agency, is now doing fashion collabs and all type of stuff. Why? Because he submitted and realized, I could do this on my own, but the bag is bigger when I play my role. See, I'm trying to help you understand. By playing your role, you're setting yourself up for more success, to make more money, to have more peace, and to have more flexibility. When we do life out of alignment, we lose flexibility, we lose freedom, and we lose our peace. We are better people when we submit to grander visions. I see it all the time in church. Like growing up in church, especially as a PK, you see a lot of preachers and pastors. You're privy to a lot of stuff. And me, because I was very mature, I've really been running my dad's church since I was 7 years old. Like literally, the church started when I was 7. I set up the sanctuary, ran the music, was his first musician. My brother and I were his first musicians. I was praise and worship, cleanup crew, set down, set up, all that type of stuff. Anything you could think of. I've probably been a deacon my whole life. I've probably been pastoring in some context my whole life too. Production, all that stuff. This is who I am. I've always been in leadership. But I've always also been someone who understood the importance and power of submitting to vision. And I remember all my life I would have conversations with men and I would warn them and I would tell them and be like, hey, I understand you think that you can go out and you can have your own and it's going to blow and it's going to be big and this and that. But the reality of it is like, you've got to understand capacity. I can remember being in high school telling people and looking back on it, I see why people probably didn't receive it, because who is this kid trying to tell me, anything about, what do you know about capacity? What do you know about building? As if you're not standing in a church I helped build, but it was funny to me, looking back on it, we laugh about it now, me and some of the people still in their feelings, but it's okay. Anyway, but I would have conversations with them and I'd be like, hey, y'all do know that it's probably not going to be a good look if you do this, because number one, ministry takes money, ministry takes people, ministry takes teams, and ministry also, I'm sorry to hurt your feelings and sorry to say this, ministry takes star power. And a lot of times people don't realize the power of image. People submit and they run to where the powerful image is, where the powerful content is, where the powerful quality is. And a lot of times, a lot of people, they just start stuff. They build stuff thinking that because they have a few people, or let's put it in context, a few fans, because I'm a realist. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Whenever y'all hear anything about me regarding church, business, anything, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Because I don't like the fact that people be trying to lie to people and saying that all it takes is prayer to build stuff. That's a lie. There's a lot of people with great prayer lives who are not successful because they don't have the actions behind it and they're not doing the necessary things to help them move forward. So it's a reality. Yeah, they have a few fans, but they don't really have any word. They don't have any content. They don't have any star power. They don't have the it. that it takes to lead the thing to move it forward. And I'd be telling people like, look, you're going to go out there, you're going to start this, and you're going to see that you should have stayed. And now we look at life and how things are some years later, and it's proven itself to be true. Sometimes we rush and we put ourselves in positions to do different things, and it exposes our deficiencies, the things that we're not really as strong in, the things that we're not really as developed in. And had we submitted to a grander vision and played our role, we probably would be having greater success. See, the thing that I'm learning in life is you can be submitted to a grand vision and still have your own brand and it not conflict. But it actually, when done right, should raise everybody up and help everybody be as successful as they're supposed to be. See, because when I'm playing my role, I start to reap the benefits of doing what's right. See, I just told you earlier in our podcast today that doing anything out of position, so life out of position is self-harm. So what do you think life in position is filled with? A lot of joy, a lot of peace, a lot of love, a lot more money, a lot more freedom, a lot more flexibility, a lot more vacations, probably some better outfits, probably a better mental state. Why? Because you're healthier. You're in a space where you are free to be what it is you're supposed to be. And today I just want to remind you of the power of being submitted to the right thing. You've got to realize, hey, okay, I'm a graphic designer. Am I supposed to have my own graphic designing company? Maybe. But if I'm a graphic designer and I know my friend's a photographer, and if I also know that there's a videographer on the thing, why don't we come together to form something much bigger and let's go after bigger bags? Because if I know that, especially in a city like Las Vegas, the average person is only spending between 50 to 100 per graphic, in order for me to do my life the way I want to, let's just say the average person wants to make at least $4K a month. Let's say 4,000 divided by, let's just say 75. You got to do 53 graphics in a month. But let's put it like this. Let's say you and your friends, y'all start a whole brand thing where y'all have consistent clientele and y'all are doing y'all thing, and y'all have a package that people are roughly paying about 10 to 12K on, and they're only asking you to do 8 graphics, but you guys are splitting the money 3 ways. I just want you to think about how much less work you have to do to get more money by doing it a different way. We stretch ourselves thin trying to be isolated, trying to get people to do different things, trying to get people to do, to buy into this idea of I'm better by myself. And we don't realize the power of what it looks like when we are working together as team members. It's a reality. So one of the things I'm learning, I'm not saying that, and it's different for different people in different cities. We have people that tune into this from different cities and they will watch this from different places, but I'm just explaining Vegas, and even if you have people on retainer, okay, cool. It's Vegas is a different type of place. I know some cities people are used to paying like retainers and things of that nature, but Vegas, it's a little bit difficult to find people who will actually take retainer work serious, especially let's say in the church context. Majority of them really don't spend on social media, and if you're part of a large church, they really volunteer based, so it's not really anybody hiring marketing firms. A lot of the larger companies and stuff out here, they work with out of state contributors. And so they work with out-of-state firms because a lot of firms in Vegas have really burned people. Or they just hire their own in-person graphic designer and you end up getting paid $12 to $14 an hour for work that you probably are worth, as we just said, $50 to $100 per graphic. So if you really want to see your value, the value really is in what? Teams. Same thing when it comes to videography, photography, all these different things. I'm trying to help y'all understand that there's more money for the team. I've been doing consulting work a lot the past year. Guess what? Guess what I'm learning? There's more money in teams. More money. Listen, look at me. More money. I want you to say it with me. There's more money in teamwork. If you would find yourself in a space to where you realize I have a skill that would work really well with this skill, and if we can put our pride aside, put our ego aside, and get past our insecurities, we can put something together that can make us a whole lot more money. One of the things that happened this past weekend, my best friend and I, we hung out for the Grammys. And so my best friend, his name is Devontae. And one of the things that me and Devontae, we have always been very intentional about is being specific about the things that we expect God to do in our lives. I know a lot of people believe in manifestation stuff. I'm not a believer in manifestation. It's not, I'm not a believer in that. I'm a believer in submitting to God's will because I believe that God's will is greater than anything I can make happen or anything that I could manifest on my own. I don't want to manifest anything because I've realized that God's desire for my life is much greater than anything that I could do on my own. There were times in my life where I would say, God, I want this specific, I'd be like, I'm going to find a way to make this specific amount of money. And then I would stop saying that I'm going to make this specific amount of money. And then I started going to God saying, hey, God, what is the amount of money you want me to have? And then guess what? God would I'm be honest with y'all, he would triple it. It's the craziest thing. So I believe submit to God's way. He knows more than us. It's his wisdom we have to ask for anyway. Might as well submit to his plan. So for me, and we wrapping up this podcast, I found myself with my best friend this weekend, and we were hanging out on Grammy weekend because we always have found ourselves in environments and spaces that you really wouldn't expect some young guys in their 20s to really be in. It's just not normal. And so I remember in high school, we would be driving around or we'd be in class and I'd be like, bro, what are we going to do when we leave high school? I know we're supposed to be bosses. I know we're supposed to be movers and shakers. We're going to be known and we're going to do some really world changing stuff. We're going to be big and it's going to be healthy and it's going to be dope and we're going to be legends. And he'd be like, yeah, bro, it's going to happen. And this past week was Grammy weekend and we are like really huge Kanye fans. And so Genius just came out on Netflix and we're walking around Grammy weekend, doing our thing, trying our best to network, make connections because you can't be successful if you don't network. Amen, church. You cannot be successful if you don't network. And so we are networking. Yes, I am a pastor, but I'm also a CEO. And even as a pastor, you need to network. Amen. Because if you want your organization to be right, guess what? It's church people don't always have the biggest checks. There are people that don't even believe in your Jesus that will sow into you, that will pour into you, that will put money behind, put support behind, put publicity behind whatever it is you are trying to birth. So you got to break out of those boxes. I have another episode for that pretty soon too for you. But we were out networking, and it was about midnight, and we're in the MGM Grand. And we're hanging out, and before we know it, Corey Henry walks by, the famed organist, one of the greatest organists of all time, walks by. And as Corey Henry walks by, I turn around, and it's Cootie, and it was Cootie and Koza. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, sir. I still love you both. And we had an opportunity to connect with both of them, and they poured into us in that short time, telling us to keep going, gave us some pointers, gave us some tips, and let us know, the power of never getting up. But here was the part that blessed me. Everything we had said that we would do, everything we talked about concerning us submitting to God's will for our life and knowing that God's plan was greater than ours was then repeated back to us by Cootie and Koza. They literally said to us, listen, you brothers already know what y'all need to do. You need to keep God's first, submit to his plan, put them egos aside, and y'all got it. I said, I looked at my bro and I was like, bro, this is crazy. We're with our heroes. We're with guys that influenced us. We're with the guys that have made a difference for us. And it was just like a full circle moment. And it was very prophetic because it's like you just repeated what you didn't even know we were praying. And I'm trying to help y'all understand, when you submit to God's will and his plan, life, I'm telling you, it will begin to line up. You'll be in spaces and rooms. You'll be open to information that's going to make you more. But if you don't humble yourself and submit, if you don't move past your ego and thinking, hey, I got to do it on my own, make this happen like this and that, guess what? You're going to miss out. So me and my best friend, guess what? We can be out here doing our own thing. We be out here playing our own role. Listen, the name of the business is Kyle West Productions. But guess what? My best friend has a role. Why? Because he was with me before anybody even knew what I was going to do. He understands the vision, knows what we're doing. My best friend doesn't even realize this. He's probably a consultant and hasn't even realized it yet. He's a very business-minded guy. Understands a lot of things about how things are supposed to be ran, understands grand vision, but stuff. And guess what? We're working together. We have a lot of dope stuff coming out. I've started to count. I have a problem because I don't know how many businesses I have, but I have them. And we laugh about it all the time, but the reality of it is guess what? We're working together. We're building. And I have other friends and stuff. And guess what? We're coming together to build, submitted to one vision. And it's happening in ministry and in business. And I'm just trying to encourage you today as we wrap up. Get in position, because guess what? There's more when you're in position. You don't want to live a life where life is beating you up, where life is doing even more than what life is already going to do. You want to live a life where everything is making sense. Because even if it's hurting, at least let the pain be something that makes sense. But to just be putting yourself through stuff that isn't really doing anything for you, it's kind of wild. So what am I saying to you today? Get in position. Stop forcing yourself to be stuff you ain't supposed to be. Stop putting yourself in a position to where you're going to do some stuff that you ain't really called to do, because the reality of it is it's unnecessary. You're not doing anything but hurting yourself. And this world doesn't need any more non-authentic, non-purposeful ideas out there. They need something that's purposeful, something that's going to change the game, and something that's going to deliver. And when you're at a position, you will never be able to deliver. Listen, I love you. God bless you. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.